right, so for the derivative does not exist component, you kind of already know that it's not going to end well because we knew that, or we solved this x squared minus x plus 25 earlier when we were finding the domain, and we found that it was an imaginary number. And that is true. And with critical numbers, we're always going to ignore imaginary numbers. So if you did already work through the domain, you know that when you take the square root of both sides, you get x squared minus x plus 25 equal to 0. And that gives imaginary solutions. And so because it gives imaginary solutions, we are going to ignore those imaginary solutions. So that basically is going to tell us that it's not going to be contributing any critical numbers. Now, one thing I will say is I know when you're looking at this, let's say you had not looked at the domain and you were just looking at x squared minus x plus 25 is equal to 0. When you go and try to factor it and you think about those factors of 25 that add up to -1, and you can't find a solution to that, you would say it's a prime polynomial. That is usually a good hint that it might be giving you imaginary solutions. Again, technically you need to check to see using the quadratic formula to see if they're imaginary or not. But as soon as you find something that is prime, most likely it is going to either give some like crazy radical solution or it's going to give the imaginary solution. So long story short is when we solve this, we would need the quadratic formula as shown in the domain video. And when we need that quadratic formula, it does give imaginary solutions, and so we would ignore that imaginary solution. So the only critical number that is coming out of this is that x is equal to +5. The +5 was actually in the number line, or actually in the interval of interest.